What is up, everybody? This is Dennis with Illinois Outdoorsman, and that light is gonna drive me nuts. But today, we're going to do my last little DIY project before the fishing season really starts and before my trip to Florida, because I don't want my rods getting beat up, and I don't want them sitting in the truck and on that drive. So we're gonna build a little bit of protection today. I do keep sleeves on my rods just to keep them from getting tangled up and busting eyes and everything else. But today we're going to build a rod tube for the top of my truck. So what you're gonna need is, I'm gonna use 6-inch PVC. This is a 10-foot stick of Schedule 40. A cap for one end, just a plain solid cap. A screw-in cap and an adapter to slide on there. Primer and glue, and if you want to paint it, you can paint it whatever color you want. I might leave mine white just because obviously my truck's white, so the only thing black is the roof rack, so I might leave this white and just cover up the lettering from the manufacturer on it. And then all the tools you're going to need is the primer and the cement, a marker, a tape measure, and a hacksaw. But this is a 6-inch tube, and they make the conduit carrier kits. I didn't want to spend 50 bucks on it when I can do it this way. I just like simple. I don't want to spend much money if I don't have to. You guys should know that by now. So with that being said, let's get started. All right, so my longest rod is 7'10". So I'm gonna cut this at about 8'4", just to give me a little bit extra wiggle room back and forth in there. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna measure this out, make a mark, cut it, and like I said, we're gonna cut it at 8'4". So I'm gonna go ahead and get it cut down to size so it's a little bit more manageable. It's not really manageable, it's a giant 6-inch piece of PVC, but it'll be a little shorter, so I will get right back with you guys. All right, I've got it cut down 8'4". It's a pain in the butt to cut, especially with a dull blade. Make sure you got a sharp blade on your hacksaw. So what we're gonna go ahead and do now is take our end cap, this bad boy right here, the solid one that's not gonna unscrew, and we're gonna screw it on one end. I'm gonna pick this end just because it's chewed up a little rough. Make sure you clean the extra trimmings and everything else off of it so you don't have any little sharp barbs or anything else. So I'm gonna go ahead and move the camera so you guys can see what I got going on here. All right, so this is the end we're talking about here. And this is the cap we're gonna shove on this. Just a solid cap, bull nose cap, just nice rounded over edge, nice clean look. And we've got a clear cement and a purple primer. So being as I want to keep this white, except for the writing here, which I may just take a can of spray paint, go over the writing and be done with it, just to match the truck, I'm gonna have to be kind of cautious of where I'm actually shoving this primer at. But what we're gonna do is give that a good shake, get it all mixed up. It's been out here in the garage and it's starting to kind of warm up a little bit. We're hitting that spot in spring where it's gonna start fighting cold and warm, so I can't even get that thing open. There we go. Pair of channel locks, always handy. So this cap I know is going to slide over the outside of it. The pipe's going to slide to the inside of the cap. So make sure I get this good and all the way around, because it is going to stain the PVC purple. And then we'll go ahead and do the inside of the cap too, just for safety's sake, just to make sure we get a good seal, because we don't want this coming off going down the road and lose all our fishing rods and everything else going down the road. That's no good. Nobody wants to lose a fishing rod. Nobody wants to take a fishing rod to the windshield going down the road. And then we're gonna go ahead and take the cement, probably already hardened up, but let's hope not. Make sure if you're doing this inside in your house or whatever, make sure you crack a window open for a little bit of ventilation, because this stuff's pretty potent. Get a little bit on there. We're going to get a lot bit on the lid, just because I'm not worried about the lid, because it's only going to go on so far. Take that lid, smack that thing on there, and let it set. It'll set up. Once that glue dries, it's not coming off. We ain't worried about it. If you want to take some extra precaution and you are a little bit worried about it, you can always take a couple of small number 8 3/4 inch long self-tapping screws and put a little bit of silicone on them and run that screw in there just for an added extra bit of security. So while that dries though, we can go ahead and start the other end of this. So we're obviously not going to glue the cap itself on. So we can leave that down there. This fitting is smooth on the one side and threaded on the other. I don't know how well you can see the threads right there. But this cap is meant screw right in there. You screw it all the way down. And you're asking, how am I going to lock this later on with my fishing rods in there? Don't want to get them stolen. What I'm going to do is actually drill a hole once this is glued on and get the cap screwed into where I want it to, let's say there, all the way in. I'm going to drill a hole from the side and go through the adapter and out the end of this. And I've got a master lock that's got a long removable shank on it that I'm going to use to lock this thing up. So we'll go ahead and get this primed, get it glued, get it put on there, get the cap in there, and that'll be the rod tube will be finished. And I'll show you how to drill that hole in there. All right, we got the adapter and the cap in there. Cap moves freely in and out. Awesome, perfect. Now you have a watertight, pretty substantial, pretty protective case. I mean, it takes a lot to beat up some Schedule 40, especially being 6 inches like this. This stuff is really thick-walled. I mean, look how thick that is. That is a thick-walled tube. So, now we're gonna go on and drill this. I'm gonna grab this lock real quick. I'll show you guys what I got for a lock. Right here. What I've got is a master lock, and the long shank on it is actually removable. It's a combination lock. I'd rather have a key, but I think I can remember a combination. But that whole shank is actually going to pull out of that lock. Remember, always cut away from you. So what we got, nice lock, nice red plastic on the handle. I'm not going to show you guys the combination, but I'll go ahead and open it. Lock, the shank, and it's got a couple different teeth, so you could shorten this up or lengthen this up just a little bit, and it just shoves back in there. It's locked in there. It ain't going nowhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill a hole through here. So this is actually going to sit in here like this to lock this onto here, because otherwise you're going to have to work to get into this tube. So go ahead and I'm probably going to run, I don't know, probably a 3/8 drill bit, but I'll go ahead and drill a pilot hole in here just so I'm not sitting here running down, and I end up with a giant gash in the side of this where the drill bit just ran. So I'm going to go ahead, drill a pilot hole, drill a small hole, and I'll show you guys the end result. All right, drilling a hole through the end cap here. Let's move you over here a little bit. So what I did, drilled the hole here through the cap, and the hole up here is a little bigger than I wanted to. I couldn't get the drill bit to lay down quite right, so it's a 3/4 inch hole in the top. It's kind of elongated just so the bar will fit through there, but it fits. Slide in and out, and you can only turn it that far before the lock catches it. So, with that being said, move you back over here. With that being said, this bad boy is ready to go on the truck. Strap it on the roof of the truck, and I'll show you guys the end result with it all strapped on the truck, ready to rock and roll. I'm gonna put the lock towards the back, just so it's easy to get to. I'm not having to climb up to the front. And it's probably gonna hang over the windshield just a little bit and hang off the back a little bit, but that's all right. Makes it easy to get to the rods. But overall, super easy project. As long as you know how to start a hole crooked and you have a drill bit that's not gonna flex too much when it goes from the adapter to the cap. That's what happened. I broke 2 drill bits trying to just drill a little pilot hole in there just so I had a straight line and had to dig the drill bit out. So until next time, see you guys out there on the water.